Wall Street is currently mispricing the AI revolution. They still think it is a software race being won in California. They are wrong. AI is heavy industry, and Silicon Valley is physically running out of electricity. The next decade of global compute isn't being built in America, it's being built in the desert. Let's look at the data.
Silicon Valley built the digital world on the promise of infinite, invisible expansion. But the birthplace of modern computing is hitting a physical limit. It lacks the power to sustain the intelligence it created. The cloud has always been a metaphor for a massive industrial reality. Training a frontier AI model is a resource-intensive process of raw material and heat, sharing more in common with a heavy factory than a traditional server farm. To teach a neural network to reason, developers must burn through electricity on a scale that mimics the Industrial Revolution. A single modern supercomputer can consume as much wattage as a medium-sized city. This demand is driven by the physical hardware at the center of the cluster. When hundreds of thousands of these graphical processing units are networked together, their collective energy draw creates a massive, concentrated load on the grid. The era of immaterial software is over. It has been replaced by a voracious heavy industry that demands absolute, unyielding access to raw power. The American electrical grid is buckling under the weight of these new facilities. Built for a different century, the aging infrastructure was never meant to support the concentrated demands of a gigawatt-scale data center. This chart from NERC shows the sharp, instantaneous vertical spikes in real power demand that occur during AI training. These rapid changes in load create a unique risk, stressing the reliability of the entire regional grid. Because the grid cannot absorb these shocks, companies are facing unprecedented wait times. In states like Virginia, connection requests now take up to 7 years, with catastrophic regional power shortfalls projected as early as 2027. The bottleneck is as much legal as it is electrical. Building a single large-scale facility triggers a labyrinth of environmental reviews and permitting processes that can cause delays of over a decade. While the pace of AI development is measured in months, American infrastructure moves in decades. This regulatory friction is effectively zoning the next phase of computing out of the country. Artificial intelligence is not standard software. It is a high-density industrial process. When thousands of chips calculate billions of probabilities simultaneously, they generate a staggering amount of heat. This thermodynamic waste is the primary enemy of the modern data center. If that heat isn't moved immediately, the hardware will physically warp and fail. Fans and air conditioning are no longer sufficient. Engineers are now forced to build hyperscale liquid cooling systems, circulating dielectric fluids directly over the silicon to prevent the processors from melting down. These systems require a massive, uninterrupted baseload of electricity to keep the pumps running. Even a momentary flicker in the power supply can lead to thermal runaway in a billion-dollar cluster. The fragmented Western grid cannot guarantee this level of stability. To survive this thermodynamic reality, the technology is physically migrating toward more reliable energy environments. This migration is centering on the Arabian Peninsula. The Gulf states have positioned themselves as the ultimate geographic solution to AI's infrastructural crisis. The region's vast, empty land and intense solar radiation provide a near-limitless source of zero-carbon energy. By leveraging these resources, Gulf states can offer electricity at a fraction of the cost found in U.S. markets. This renewable baseline is reinforced by sovereign nuclear programs. Plants like Baraka in the UAE provide the always-on 24/7 power that AI training runs require to maintain thermodynamic stability. In the Gulf, top-down royal decrees can bypass the red tape that stalls Western projects. They can clear dunes, secure the required power, and build hyperscale sanctuaries in a fraction of the time it takes to get a permit in Virginia. The desert has become the only terrestrial ecosystem capable of supporting AI's massive metabolic rate. It offers the space, the speed, and the power that the rest of the world can no longer provide. These nations are executing a massive pivot of sovereign wealth, investing billions to remain the center of the global economy in a post-oil world. This capital deployment is overwhelming the traditional venture capital model. Gulf funds are moving with a speed and volume that Silicon Valley simply cannot match. Between 2024 and 2030, sovereign Gulf funds pull the AI industry toward the Middle East. Abu Dhabi's MGX and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund both surged toward $100 billion in assets to own the next generation of computing power. The Gulf is aggressively converting its oil wealth into a digital footprint. They are building 5-gigawatt compute campuses and purchasing direct equity in the global brain. Tech companies are now executing a logistical pivot, shipping hundreds of thousands of restricted processing units across the ocean to fill these new desert campuses. These transfers require the highest level of diplomatic approval. Companies like Microsoft must secure strategic export licenses from the U.S. Department of Commerce to move this advanced hardware into international territory. Tech titans like Microsoft's Brad Smith are now leading a grand exchange. They are burying their hardware in the desert sands in return for the capital and energy they can no longer find at home. This concentration of resources is establishing a new center of gravity for the industry. By securing the chips, the raw electrical power, and the sovereign capital, the Middle East has positioned itself as the indispensable broker of the world's most advanced hardware. The region has become the world's technological neutral zone. It is the place where superpowers and tech giants must now go to rent their intellect.